Hey y'all, it's been a while, a very long while since I've made one of these videos. Not like anyone watches these types of videos, but it sure helps to get stuff out and potentially help someone else. Hopefully. I wish my words could resonate with others and give them some type of closure, but that probably ain't the reality. So yeah, hello, good day, what? On to what I'm going to be talking about. I didn't suffer as badly as others do. In fact, I feel guilty and self-conscious about claiming that I had some anxiety because I know people are worse than I was. But anyways, I figured I should throw my 2 cents in anyway. A lot of sufferers from anxiety suffer from panic attacks. I have never had panic attacks, but instead I have had, thankfully, spread out emotional meltdowns. It's caused by a chemical imbalance in my brain. Both my mother's side and father's side of the family has a long list of members with mental illnesses. Anxiety is an emotion characterized by an unpleasant state of inner turmoil, often accompanied by nervous behavior such as pacing back and forth, somatic complaints, and rumination. It includes subjectively unpleasant feelings of dread over anticipated events. Anxiety is a feeling of uneasiness and worry, usually generalized and unfocused as an overreaction to a situation that is only subjectively seen as menacing. It is often accompanied by muscular tension, restlessness, fatigue, and problems in concentration. Anxiety is closely related to fear, which is a response to a real or perceived immediate threat. Anxiety involves the expectation of a future threat. People facing anxiety may withdraw from situations which have provoked anxiety in the past. I can't express myself. I have no control over my thoughts and feelings when around people. I think that everyone is monitoring me for a flaw in my appearance or attitude, or just about anything I can think of about myself. Whether it's my clothes, the way I walk, what I'm looking at, my facial expressions, I know logically that the possibility of every person I see looking out for those flaws are ridiculous. But in my mind, I can't help but get the feeling that they are. It causes me a lot of stress and insecurity. What should I say if someone approaches me and says this? What will they think if I do that? Do they hate me? Are they making fun of me in their head? Am I being too quiet? Am I saying something dumb? Do they care to listen if I even dreadfully try to speak? And so on. You're constantly just questioning everything, overthinking everything, even when you don't know you are. I'm never comfortable suggesting plans for others, but instead prefer to be told what to do simply out of fear of offending others or being on the hook if my suggestions aren't well received. I rely on others to choose me as a friend, rather than taking the initiative myself, so most of my friends are extreme extroverts, for better or worse. I don't like getting my hair cut out, or worry that I'll have to talk to a stranger for 30 minutes. I have avoided numerous opportunities to learn and push myself to improve skills that would help me professionally out for the fear that I would be judged for just thinking I could acquire these skills. I have battled bouts of depression over the years, brought on generally by strong feelings of inferiority. It feels like fear. Your being senses exposure to ridicule and danger. Your brain triggers a release of fight or flight, adrenaline, which registers at knots in the gut, heart palpitations, flushing of the ears and face. Your voice can quiver. You become so self-conscious, you may not be able to light someone's cigarette without worrying that your hand will give you away as being terrified, and it begins to shake, fulfilling your worst fear. It's like being a mind reader who can't read minds. As you navigate the social world and it churns in slow motion, you see and hear absolutely everything. Every gesture, every facial expression, every sigh is thoroughly analyzed to the point where you begin to imagine you know what everyone is thinking. They're always thinking about you, and it's never good. I like to explain it this way. If someone says good morning to you, you could spend all day, all week, thinking about what did they mean by that? You do weird things. I often had trouble looking people in the eye. I never knew where to look. You can imagine the misunderstandings this could cause with the ladies. I have looked guilty a lot because I feel like I've done something wrong by merely existing. You can easily become a ghost every day, doing the same task and going to the same places as always. Still, there may not be a single person who could identify you by name, as you are fearful of interacting. Intellectually, you know that your fears are baseless. That's just anxiety, that everything is fine, it doesn't matter, it doesn't help, it's not fine. Certainly there are many degrees of severity, but anyone who deals with social anxiety understands quickly how much human interaction governs our world and how difficult it is to live every day seeing these interactions on monumental challenges. Having multiple friends to hang out with may ease the pain for a moment, but does this sound any familiar? I didn't make a great conversation. I walked behind them in silence, desperately thinking to myself, "Come on, you idiot, say something," while they chatted. The truth is, I hated myself. I hated myself for being unable to hold a conversation for 5 seconds, for having to think of things to say before going to school, for the deep depression I sank into when I encountered the most minor setbacks. And when I say minor setback, I mean minor. I analyze how my day went every day, and I always focus on the negatives. I think, oh, they didn't say hi to me when they walked in, or, oh, they spent their free period on their own. But for some reason, I cannot comprehend that maybe that time they came over to talk with me or gave me a Christmas present means they actually like me. Someone liking me? I think to myself, impossible! And of course came the great misery that overcame me, causing me to sit by myself, not talking to anyone, which only makes it worse, which makes me more depressed, and so on until I just want myself to give up. It drains nearly everything enjoyable from your life. Now, as all of us, you may ask, how do I defeat this? Is it even possible to? And the only way to solve a problem is to face it rather than running away. We love to avoid socializing. We skip on every invite and be at home instead. It's always easier to run, and it's always the option we opt for. But it's also the thing that's hurting us the most. As tempting as it may be to blame the world, in most cases, the creator, generator, and producer of your problems is you. I'm not saying this is your fault. You have no idea why this is happening to you, and if you knew how to change it, you would without a heartbeat. Anyone to blame you is a fool. I am just saying that this problem isn't external. If you don't identify them, if you don't label them and dry them out and mount them on a case where you can keep them under observation, you will switch from an old situation to a brand new one to find you have generated those problems again. You will replicate your problem with your behavior so it will follow you and present itself everywhere, anywhere you go. It's not that you shouldn't run away from your problem. It's that you can't. You cannot start over in a clean place far away. If you do, you will bring it with you. The more you run from your problems, the more they will chase you. Instead of experiencing the exhaustion and frustration of running in a circle forever, take steps towards that problem. They are a part of your life, as we can never run away from life. We have to live with it anyhow. What helped me was the realization that all these people I was paranoid about, that I wanted to please, that I thought hated me and so on, they didn't give a fuck about me. I was wasting myself on people who weren't even thinking about me in the first place. The truth is, most people in this world don't care about you. As I said earlier, you're a ghost to them, another faceless number walking amongst the rest, fulfilling your own life, minding your own business as they will theirs. If you always care about what other people think, then you'll end up being their prisoner. You don't have to cut so deep to cover your insecurities. You don't have to hide from anyone. You don't have to try and please people with what you think they want. Be yourself, because you are enough. This realization is really important, but it's a process. I know that you cannot heal overnight, as I didn't. Explore what triggers your social anxiety. Is it public speaking, crowded spaces, unwanted attention? The key to overcoming social anxiety is to understand what sorts of situations trigger your anxiety in the first place, and to find ways to practice these situations accordingly. Ultimately, anxiety cannot be rationalized. I can't explain to someone why they shouldn't be feeling anxious all the time because of this. However, you can become numb to the effects of the anxiety via gradual exposure, which desensitizes you to its triggers. Then, once you've understood your triggers, you can make a point to confront your fears. As I said earlier, avoiding anxiety-inducing situations perpetuates the fear. Face your fears isn't just a cliched slice of advice, it actually works. Start small and build yourself up. If you have anxiety around crowds, then start by only hanging around with small one, two other people. Then work your way up. Remind yourself that you can do difficult things. Think about the last time you did something that was really hard. How did you do it? What helped? Pull from those resources to help you face your fears. Remembering what's important can also help you overcome anxiety. For example, the next time you feel anxiety in social situations, put life into perspective again by thinking about the people you love. Social anxiety comes from worry about what others will think of you. The best way to overcome that is to shift your focus to what is important to you. Are you living a life that you feel good about? Are you spending your time well? Are you fulfilled and happy in your relationships? These questions are inside-out questions. They start with you at the center of the question. Then you bring the answers to the world outside of you. Try writing down your thoughts. Writing down your thoughts as they come up is a great way to look at them with some perspective. With perspective, you'll probably find that most of what's making you anxious falls into one of two categories. Either they're things that won't actually happen, or they're things you have no control over. Get in the habit of writing down what's making you anxious, and in your head, labeling these feelings as anxious. It will give you the perspective you need to dismiss rather than obey your anxiety. Try practicing mindfulness. Now, I don't have any input for that because I don't myself, but not everyone is like me, so it might be the thing for you, and if you can, seek out therapy. Finally, consider exposure therapy. One of the best ways to tackle social anxiety is through exposure. This approach allows you to gradually introduce yourself to feared situations while learning how to process them with a decreased level of fear and anxiety. It's best to try this approach with a trained professional who will begin by creating a fear hierarchy with you. This allows you to organize your feared situations and approach them in a more productive way. Now, these are just things I've found that has helped others. They may help you or not. Everyone is different. Everyone's circumstances and scenarios and personalities and disorders and everything is fucking different. And I can't tell you to make a guide for every individual. It's different for each person, and it doesn't always go away. It's going to be a constant battle for anyone with anxiety. Patience and understanding is key. If someone you know is struggling, and if you're the one struggling, which you probably are, then find someone with those traits, even if they are simply a therapist. Realize that all these people out here that cause your whirlwind inside, they don't care about you, and you shouldn't have to give a shit about what they may think. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. All I know is that you have to try, because you may doubt it, but you are strong. And remember, be yourself, because you are enough.